Okay, so I am back with another video, and it is all about water. And if you are just starting off on your journey, maybe you don't pay much attention to water, but you do hear all the time about how if you want to lose weight, you should be drinking a gallon of water a day, and you should be drinking a lot more water. Water is extremely important. I believe water is very important. So in biology, we learned that there are like 6 elements that are like the key to life, or I forgot what they're called, but they basically make up pretty much everything, and in some way, 1 or 2 of them. And so hydrogen and oxygen are 2 of them. So hydrogen and oxygen make up 2 of them. And plus we're made up of like 70% of water. So a large part of us need water just to continue our natural functions. A little bit about how I got started with my journey years ago, probably like 2018. I actually started drinking for a whole year. I started drinking a gallon of water every single day. And the changes I felt in my body were crazy. I only drank water. I didn't drink juice. I didn't drink soda, anything else. Other than water, I would drink a smoothie made up of like fruits, milk, stuff like that. Or a fruit juice, pressed fruits and like squeezed from fruits and stuff like that, natural juices. And so I noticed a big difference in my body, which was like life-changing. And I realized how drinking a gallon every single day like really changed like how I felt. And it really helped me a lot, because then whenever I went back to, I started noticing changes, and I was like, I would feel sick or I would feel different, and I just like, I would feel nauseated sometimes, or I would get a headache or something, and just at random, and I would realize that I was dehydrated, just mildly, slightly, but still I wasn't getting enough water. I wanted to talk about measuring. There's a bunch of different ways you can measure your water intake. So this is actually 8 ounces of water. So it's very little. I could chug this right now in like 2 gulps. But the one that people are most commonly familiar with are the 16.9 water bottles, which are 2 of these, a little over 2 of these. It's actually easy to measure when you're drinking with water bottles, stuff like that. But I don't like to use like plastic, and I try not to anyways. I try not to buy too many water bottles. So what I'll do is I'll buy like 1 big water bottle, and this one has it measured out in milliliters. So when it comes to tracking your water, you want to be really familiar with measurements. So these are measured in ounces, and then it says milliliters next to it. So 8 ounces, 16.9 ounces, and then 2,000 milliliters. So it takes 128 ounces to make 1 gallon, 3,790 milliliters to make 1 gallon, or 4 quarts, or 3.8 liters. This one's my favorite. It's actually Alani water, and this is 1 full liter. So I know if I drink 4 of these, I'm gonna have a little over a gallon that day. On the nutrition label, it actually says the serving size is 12 fluid ounces. If you know your measurements and you know how to accurately measure a gallon, then it becomes a little bit easier to know whether you're drinking a gallon of water, if that's your goal. Every person is different, of course. Every individual is different. And however much you weigh, you want to divide that by 2, and that's how much you should be drinking in ounces. That's the general rule of thumb I've heard. And so that amount you should be drinking every single day just to be hydrated, basically. And, just so your body will function the way it should be. So when we're dehydrated, of course, everybody's goals are different. So if you want to drink more, you want to, hit certain goals fitness-wise, then of course drink more, and everybody's different. So some people sweat more, and some people are going to need to have an increased intake of water. So this is something that you would want to talk with your doctor, your dietitian, your nutritionist, you know, whoever, with an expert, a trained expert, because I don't know everything. You want to be self-aware, and you want to see how much water you're really getting in a day, because sometimes it's really surprising that not everybody gets that much water. Your daily intake of water, it's mainly, the goal is to stay hydrated. So if you're drinking Gatorades, if you're drinking flavored waters, if you're drinking things like that, those also count. I just say water because it's 0 calories. But again, everyone's goals are different. So that brings me to my next point. Fruits and vegetables. They also, what we eat, carry a certain amount of water in them as well. Cucumbers, watermelon, oranges, they all have very high, density of water. So when you're eating those, you are also hydrating your body with those fruits and vegetables. Let this be your sign to get more fruits and veggies in your diet. So that's why everybody's intake is going to be different with water, because you may have a very high diet of, like fruits and vegetables, and you might be plenty hydrated already because you don't get that much activity and stuff like that. But for others, who need to be drinking more water, then that's definitely something that you could look into. A big downside to drinking water, honestly, is like you having to go pee a lot. But the more you hit that goal daily, you'll realize that this will start to change, because then your body will adjust and it won't be so bad. That's what I've noticed. So I wanted to talk about dehydration a little bit. After working in the ER for over a year, a lot of our patients, I noticed, a lot of them on the discharge papers would be discharged with being evaluated for dehydration. So a lot of people would need fluids, like fluid bags and stuff like that, and a lot of them were dehydrated. It would be severe dehydration, mild dehydration, whatever. But they would present to the ER with nausea, fever, headaches, fatigue, dizziness, feeling like they want to faint, muscle cramps, rapid heart rates, and breathing. And there's just so many symptoms that come with dehydration. It hits everybody differently. So the more you are aware, that's going to help, because when you're dehydrated, it sets the stage for so many other things. Like you could have another illness that maybe your body would treat differently if you were hydrated. But because you're dehydrated, now it's hitting you like full force. And everything's connected, so it all goes into play. I wanted to talk about hangovers real quick. So when you drink a lot of alcohol and you're partying hard, and let's say you throw up, let's say you're being active and you're sweating, all of these things are going to deplete you of your water, and you risk being dehydrated. So the next day when you're hungover and everybody's like, oh, drink more water, and here's a Gatorade, and here's Pedialyte, it's to rehydrate you so you can get over that hangover. And so one thing about me, fun fact, I've never had a hangover before. I've never experienced a hangover. And I've blacked out, I've vomited, I have woken up still drunk. Like, I am no exception. I've partied hard too, but I always drink water when I'm at the bar or when I go out. I'll always have a water bottle, and I'll always try to drink something besides alcohol. I'll try to drink like a lot of water. And I get called names for this and stuff like that, but I've never had a hangover, and if what I'm doing works, I'm gonna keep doing it. But it's just something to think about, because water is very important. And I would just say, give it a try next time when you're drinking. Drink two water bottles to every 4 or 5 beers you have. And I don't know, maybe it'll change something. Maybe you're the one that's gonna know that. So anyways, I wanted to make this video quick. That's all I had to say with water, really. And then I am gonna post probably like right here some apps that you could try, because when it comes to tracking, I do try to track my water as well. I don't do very well with it, but since we have our phones everywhere with us, it might be a good idea if you want to try tracking. And sometimes like Apple, Samsung, stuff like that have their own version of what you can use. So just an idea. If it helps, it helps. But just try to be more self-aware, especially if you're on a fitness journey, especially if you're paying attention to your health, because water is one of the biggest things that I always preach. Brings us to the end of this video and our journal prompt today. What is something that you wanted in your childhood that you remember you wanting as an adult for your adult self? So this is like when you were a kid, you thought like, oh, when I get older, I'm definitely gonna have this, or I'm definitely gonna have that. And now that you're older, you may not realize it, but you have it. But it's so normal now that you don't give it a second thought. Are you grateful for it? Do you realize that, you know, you made your younger self proud? And if there's nothing that comes to mind, there's nothing that you can think of, ask yourself why that is and what's stopping you. If you still want it, if goals have changed, write about that. But anyways, yeah, I hope you like this video. Thanks. I'll see you next Sunday.